Ambitious Professionals. I am Tegan Bartos, career strategist, speaker, and coach, helping guide you to professional success, financial stability, and personal fulfillment. So something that I've been working a lot on is helping guide young people into what they're going to do next. So helping them land that first dream job, or helping them go on to college, or maybe an advanced trade program, or whatever it may be. But something that I noticed a lot of the young people that I'm working with forget about is the military. So I reached out to an old friend who will not BS anything. So Ralph, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell my students a little bit about what got you into what you got into.
Okay, my name is Raphael Hayden. I served in the Army National Guard, Illinois Army National Guard for about 7 years. Um, how did I get into that? So my cousin actually, I had graduated high school, and my cousin, we both went to the same school, SIU Carbondale, and he had came home like our sophomore year one day, and he was like, "Man, I just signed up, and they have this bonus." I'm sorry, same little gnat just coming from me right now. But no, he had signed up, and he was like, "Man, they're giving out bonuses, and you only gotta go train for the weekends and in the summertime for 2 weeks, and you may have to deploy, but it's circumstantial depending on what unit you're with and what's going on, what your job is." I'm like, that don't sound too bad. And then he told me they pay for college. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I don't necessarily come from money, so I had to figure out something to pay for college while, dealing with student loans and stuff like that, and still trying to work a job and go to college and learn everything. So I'm like, all right, I'll give it a chance. So I went in, seen a recruiter, and they was like, "Man, we're giving away $15,000. If you sign up right now, we can ship you off today." And I'm like, no.
There sounds like there's a catch in there.
Yeah, it sounded like it was something more to it. So it was a little bit. So they give out bonuses depending on the need for whatever job that they're trying to fill within that moment. And at that time, I was a motor transport operator. So it's my MOS, that's what they call jobs in the Army. My MOS was 88 Mike. I'm starting to get some decent sun.
Hello, Texas.
Yeah. My job was an 88 Mike motor transport operator. So I drive all the trucks, basically all the vehicles. We transport ammunition, personnel, supplies, weapons, everything. So we did that. We control convoys, things of that such, also including food. So once I signed up, I told him I didn't want to leave immediately. So they gave me another option. You can defer your, not deployment, but when you actually start and you go to basic training, you can defer that to a later date. I wanted to finish up my my first semester sophomore year.
Okay.
I wanted to finish that up first. So my second semester, I ended up leaving, and I went to basic training. Basic training was in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. It's about 10 weeks. Did some strenuous training there.
You got in good shape.
Yeah, you definitely do. Like, one thing I really appreciate about the military, and I mean this very sincerely, the military will teach you actually have no limits. And a lot of times in life, we only go as far as our perceived limits. But when you have someone constantly 24/7 pushing you to be better every 2 seconds, every inch of what you thought you can be and your potential is, you realize you really don't have any limits. And then it clicks from your mind failing you, from your body failing you to your mind overriding your body. And then you constantly keep going and keep going. So it really changed my mentality as far as what I can do, and not necessarily just physically. I took that and I ran with that, and I applied that in a lot of different aspects of my life. And anything I wanted to do, I realized I can really do it. It's not a limit. It's just a perceived limit of your potential. But yeah, so did that, start ranking up, from an E1, which is, they call it an E-Fuzzy. You're a private, basically a nobody. Um, so during that portion of your time, um, again, you're a nobody, so everyone tells you what to do. So after basic training, you have AIT, which is Advanced Individual Training. That's when you learn your actual job. Basic
Okay.
training is to learn how to be a soldier first. So when you go to basic training, for those 10 weeks, they teach you about weapons, they teach you about uniform, how to march, the ranks, the different branches of the military, how it breaks down, because a lot of people would ask, like, okay, are you in the reserve, or are you in the Navy? Are you in the Marines, or are you in the Guard, or whatever the case is? And when you break down the branches, you have the top branches, which are the Coast Guard. I don't know why I named it first, but I'm just gonna let them have it for that moment. But you got the Coast Guard, you have the Marines, you have the Navy, you have the Air Force, and you have the Army. And I feel like I'm missing another one, but we're just gonna let that ride. But each individual one has like 3 different sectors.
Okay.
You have the Guard. The Guard is ran by the state. And then you have the Reserve. The Reserve is ran by, it's ran by the federal, the nation. But those are like part-time military. So that's when you go on the weekend, and like 1 weekend a month, and then 2 weeks out the summer, or it could be 3 weeks. So they're on like a 4-year rotation as far as being deployed and where you may go. No matter what is going on in the world, you can definitely be deployed at, any given era of what's going on in the world. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to war. Deployment just means you're leaving from your duty station, wherever that is.
Okay.
So yeah, you can deploy for national disasters within the nation. You can also deploy overseas and go to Italy. You can go to, Kuwait. You can go to Germany. It's a lot of different places you can go. Because one thing about the military, or at least the American military, any place we have been, we have never left. We are still there. For some reason, we like to just, move in and stay. So that's what it is as far as deployment. So yeah, the Guard is ran by the state, and the Reserve is ran by the federal. And then you have active duty. Active duty is more so like your 9 to 5. Your 9 to 5, you go in, you do your thing. After 4:30 or whatever time you get off, you back to doing your regular thing. But one thing about being in the military, you do sign over your rights as far as being a citizen.
So what's that mean?
That means you are under a whole new set of laws and regulations. We don't necessarily fall underneath the Constitution. We fall under the UCMJ, Uniform Military Code of Justice. So they have their own set of rules. So they then will teach you about that, and what that means, what you can and can't do.
And that's for life.
That is, no, it's not for life. It's just for the duration of your contract.
Okay.
So they have contracts where, like my first contract was 6 years, not necessarily active, but 6 years, where you actually have to go to drill, when you actually have to go to trainings and everything else. And then 2 years, what they call inactive reserve.
Okay.
So it's like a 6-2 contract. So inactive reserve just basically means if the worst comes to worst, we're going to call you and we need your help.
Okay.
But the first 6, I'm actually showing up, going to trainings, going to drill, and doing those different things. Now, when it comes to active, it's kind of the same way. But instead of that, again, it's like your 9 to 5. So you can have a 3-year contract with them, a 4-year contract with them, and then you will also have however many years inactive as well. So that's that part of it. So did you have any questions, or you just want me to kind of just?
Nope. So that makes sense. So like for your process to enlist, you found out from your cousin, you waited to go to basic. So when you were enlisting, can you talk a little bit more about that? So like you have to take a test.
Yes.
That's fab. And then that determines what kind of job you can get, or do you get to pick your job?
Okay. So You can pick the job you want, but they tell you the score that qualifies for that. So anything 50 or above, you can get into the military.
Okay.
Now, depending on what kind of job is based upon what score you get. I scored an 80, so I was able to, that's on a higher scale. Um, so I was able to pretty much get any job I wanted outside of like maybe some that requires like 90s, and that's more so intelligence. But
Okay.
I picked the one I picked because I need some money. So they said
They
that
had the
15,
bonus.
yeah, that bonus was real, you know. But they're tricky. They're a little tricky. So sometimes, okay, for instance, my cousin, he got a $20,000 bonus because he went to be in 11 Bravo. So basically what that is he is, let's just say he's a soldier. His job is literally to be a soldier,
Okay.
um, to fight. That's his thing. He doesn't necessarily have something else where you have mechanics. So when you think about the military is like a whole community. Some people always think they just, all we're going to do is shoot. No, you have doctors, you even have military lawyers, you have truck driving, you have cooking, you have all these different aspects. Anything that you can think of that puts together an entire community, you have those people in the military as well.
Okay.
So I don't want people to think like, oh, this is all the same thing. No, all these different jobs are to fill up a community. But his was just, a weapons specialist, if you will.
Okay.
So they gave him a lump sum. I was a truck driver, so they broke mine down. They gave me half up front, 50% up front. 3 years later, 25% of that, 15,000, and then I think my final year they gave me the other 25% of that. So you want
Okay.
to make sure you pay attention to what you're signing. Every
Okay.
time they ask you to sign some stuff, read it. Take your time and read it. I don't care how much your recruiter is trying to push you to do anything. Read it. And then when you read it and you decide to sign, keep it. Keep all your documents. The military has some way of losing stuff, and they're supposed to be the most organized people ever. So it's kind of, it's always funny. It's very comical.
Okay, so to my students watching this, keep your paperwork.
Keep your paperwork every time. I don't care what happens, always. So yeah, so I signed up. Like I said, you have sometimes as far as body markings, depending on tattoos where they're at, you may be disqualified depending on which branch you're going into.
Okay.
Marines and Army are a little bit more lighter on, tattoos. But when you start getting into the Navy, the Air Force, and the Coast Guard, they're a little bit more strict on it. I don't know why, but they just are. That's just their rules. So every branch has their own thing that they do.
Okay.
So yeah, so you go through that. They check your background and all that stuff. And after you take your test, depending on what your score is, now you know what jobs you can qualify for and whether you can qualify for the job you initially want to pick. Because if your ASVAB score isn't appropriate for the job that you wanted, and therefore you can't get that. But it doesn't mean you can't join. You just can't get the job you wanted. So that's when you start making some decisions for yourself.
So actually pay attention to taking that test so you can
Yeah, definitely.
jobs.
You can take, they have definitely practice courses and stuff like that to, get an idea of what they're looking for. But the ASVAB, honestly, it's a test like you've never seen before. Like the questions they ask you is shapes, like electrician type stuff. Some stuff you just simply won't know, and that's fine. That's why you only have to get like a 50% because there's parts of it you probably never even heard of, so they can't really hold against you. But I was using my guessing talents on a lot of it. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like I was like, what? If a squiggly line and a circle are put together, what shape should they make?
No idea.
C. C for Christ. I was finessing it. But yeah, so you take your ASVAB. Once you qualify and you get in, you pick a job, then you go through what they call MEPS. MEPS is when you take a full scale physical exam.
Okay.
They're not able to technically look at your past medical records, right?
Okay.
So they have to do their own examination. When you're at MEPS, this is an all-day experience. I mean, like
I've
3
seen it on
a.m.
movies and it looks rather invasive.
Very invasive. They check everything. When I say everything, everything. From the rooter to the tutor, they checking it out. Yeah, you're gonna be there at least 12 hours.
Okay.
And you're going to see doctors for hearing, your vitals. They're going to ask you about your heart. They're going to look at your body for scars. Yes, they're going to ask you to strip butt naked. And you're going to be in there with a group of people. It's going to be really weird, but it will not be the only time you do that in the military. So you will get used to it quite quickly. Yeah, so you go through that. Once you are done with that, that's when you basically get ready for whenever you ship off to basic training.
Okay.
Yeah, basic training, like I said, it's 10 weeks. You go through that. It's different phases of basic training, red, white, and blue phase. And that's more so the intensity. The red phase is when they're really trying to break you down. And they're trying to, break you down to the core so they can build you back up to be a soldier, to understand the Army way and how they do things. But the cool thing about the Army is everything they have, it's not complicated. They have a saying: the Army gives you everything you need. It tells you what to think, and it's ridiculous, but it's true. Like it's pretty true. Everything is on, like, I think a third or fourth grade reading level or understanding level, so anybody
Okay.
can pick it up. So it's not complicated stuff at all. But then, like I said, you go through your AIT, which is your advanced individual training. That's when you learn your job. Me, I was learning how to drive trucks. So I was in Missouri going up and down mountains, hitting curves and moving stuff. And it was cool. It was a little scary, but it was cool. After that, if you're active, you then will go to your duty station.
Okay.
If you are guard or reserve, you then will, when you first get back, you'll go check in with wherever your base is, or your armory, or wherever you are drilling out of. You go there, and then from there, you live your life. You live your regular life. There's certain things as far as body hair and stuff like that that you can have. Like now, I would have to cut all this off, but I'm out,
Okay.
so they can't do nothing. But yeah, certain things you got to maintain with yourself, and keep in mind, again, you are no longer a U.S. citizen technically. You are a soldier. So if I'm being quite frank, you're kind of U.S. property. So you got to have that in your mind and understand, what you do not only just affects, you can't just dodge certain things. At any moment, your sergeants, your superiors can, like, look into the back and see what's going on.
Okay.
They do ask that you tell them so they don't have to do all that. It doesn't automatically happen. But if they get like a notification or something like that, or some indication rather of something not looking right and they want to go research, they can definitely find it.
Yep.
Drug tests. So they test for everything, but the not trying to promote anything, but I'll just leave it at that. They test for everything. They test for everything. So do your best not to do drugs. So yeah, that's that.
So if
But
you test positive, they won't let you in, or they'll give you time to get clean.
they will ask you, like, recruiters are really cool. They're not all bad. They're not just trying to rush you in. They are trying to make their quota. So it's a balance of both. But keep it 100 with your recruiters. Like, tell them what's up. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like, with my recruiter, I was like, yeah, I was smoking. He was like, all right, cool. So, if that's the case, make sure you good. When you are good, then come talk to me.
Okay.
If not, let's hold off on your paperwork until you get yourself together, and then do what you got to do. Because once you go, a recruit can't help you.
Yeah.
MEPS, they check everything. Like, so you got to make sure you got your stuff together. I mean, life is life, and people have their own experience. They go through what they go through. Nobody's perfect. I still ain't perfect to this day.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, you all good. You all good.
I think your gnat came to me.
Water.
That's the worst time to cough during COVID.
Yeah. Good thing you're alone.
Yeah, the joys of Zoom.
Yes, ma'am. But I guess you want to talk about what, benefits, or what you want to talk about?
So, okay, so if you went back in time, would you do it again?
I would do it again, but probably differently, because my degree is in aviation management.
Okay.
It's slight differences between the branches, right? So you do have aviation in the Army. It's not all grunt work and soldier type thing. Again, it's a community. So Air Force is more so focused on the air.
Okay.
But they do have different things that they have transportation as well and security and stuff like that. And I did the Army, so I don't know, because think about it like this. The Air Force are like the preppy kids of the military. Like they're like the high society of the military. So, you know, uh, they are more strict. They, it can be tricky. You have to be very conscious of what you're doing. You have to watch your back.
They
Mind.
seem more corporate.
Yeah, they're very, very corporate. I'm a down to earth person. I'll get my hands dirty, or I can put on the suit. I can go either way. And the Army is more, it's more realistic for me. Like, they're people.
Yeah.
So, they real. You can laugh, joke, kick it. You're not necessarily as on pins and needles.
Okay.
Whether you're being perfect or not, as you
Okay.
are when you're, in the Air Force. Now, the Air Force makes more sense as far as my career. So sometimes you got to mold yourself to be a better person. So I understand that. But if I go back, I probably would still do Army. But I would immediately go to the aviation part of Army, helicopters and stuff like that. And maybe I might even do pilot or unarmed aircrafts, where they have so many different jobs that you can get into. But yeah, I might more so go into the aviation department of the Army, and that's probably what I would change, so it actually matches up with my degree. So then, I probably would have stayed in a little bit longer if I was doing that. But, I did the other thing. So, and you can switch up too. It's not one job for your entire career.
Okay.
You do have to serve a minimum amount of time in that job, because that's what you signed up for, and they're paying you you getting the bonus for that specific job. So you can't just switch up immediately. But after you serve your little time doing that, you can definitely try something else out. You can also, they call it reclass, where you go get another, it's called MOS, right?
Yep.
So you can get another MOS, and you can have both. Your primary would be what you start off as, and then your secondary would be the second thing you learn. It's a lot of different things you can do in the military. You can learn how to become airborne, the people that jump out of planes and parachute down, or you can go air assault, people who jump out of helicopters. And then they, not necessarily parachute down, but they jump out of helicopters on the ropes and stuff. It's a lot of different things. You can be a ranger. Those are super soldiers. You can go to sniper school. It's a lot of different things you can do within the military. That's really fun.
So you would re-enlist if you had to do it over again. You would go through the process again.
I would. I got out because my own personal opinion, I don't trust Trump. And I don't know where he may or may not send some people. So I was like, once I found out he was running, I was like, see, I'm not afraid of deployment, but he might get into it with the wrong people. And I'm not necessarily sure if I want to be over there fighting somebody who ain't really did nothing.
So when I opened this video up and said Ralph was not going to BS anything, you see clearly he is not going to BS anything.
No, I'm keeping funny with you. No, bro. I was like, they was like, yeah, Trump running. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna re-enlist. No, I don't think I'm gonna do that one. All right, guys. It's been fun. It's been real. It's been real fun. I'm out. But no,
So what are the perks once you're out? Because like once you're out, you're a veteran for life. And that's like one of the perks and why I encourage young people to consider the military as an option, because there's still certain incentives even once you decide, okay, I've completed my contract. I'm
yeah.
not obligated to sign up for another contract. So then what?
So, well, you want to start off with the perks for even joining and then how it can carry over? Or
Yeah,
do you
sure.
okay, cool. So, as y'all know, for the most part, when you join, they have certain benefits, especially if you want to go to school. Of course, they pay for your tuition. The Illinois states, well, whatever school you're in, state schools, they pay for the tuition or up to $50,000 of your tuition. You also can apply for a kicker. It's like an extra couple $100 onto your your monthly pay.
Okay.
Um, whether you, well, if you, I guess you can do them both at the same time. You can still be active and still be in school. So I guess from my experience, it was more so from the National Guard. So I was part-time and still in college at the same time. So I would go drill and I still get a kicker on top of that. But the kicker, I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure your kicker applies to your school when you get paid for school.
Okay.
So you get that. And then they also pay, it's a few things. They pay for your tuition. Then you get an extra little bonus to pay for books and stuff like that. And then you get a kicker. Then by joining the military period, they call it a GI Bill. And the
Yep.
GI Bill basically helps you obtain, it comes with the kicker and paying for school, as well as you have a guaranteed loan to buy a home. And it's at a very low interest rate. You do not need to have a deposit or anything up front, but you do need to have a job and you need to have a 620 credit score minimum, which isn't
Okay.
pretty high, honestly. It's like slightly above fair.
Okay.
And then they will definitely help you get that home. I think it's like up to like $400,000, four hundred
Nice.
thousand dollar home.
That's huge. That's a lot of money you save.
Yeah, it's very huge. I still got it to this day. I haven't even used mine yet. So I've been kind of holding on to mine because I'm single. I ain't got no kids. I ain't got no girl. I ain't got nothing. So I'm chilling. So I want to hold on to mine until like I get a family. So in case you plan on having a family or you already have a family, that's definitely a huge incentive to give you some ground to have something for your family to make sure they're good. You also can pass down your uh, your school funding to your kids.
That's
Now,
huge.
you can pass it down if you don't use it, or if you reenlist for another contract. Each contract has its own benefits that comes with it.
Okay.
Once you do another contract, there are options of obtaining more schooling benefits in which you can pass down to your kids. On
Wow.
top of that, you you automatically get life insurance, but then you can get life insurance for extremely cheap. And I'm talking about like $400,000 for like $35 a month cheap.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you can, and then you can even get more than that extra on top of that. So that's for you. You can get health benefits for extremely low rates as well. If you set up things properly before you exit out the military, it can carry over. If you do not, that is on you. That's why I say always keep up with your paperwork, know what you got going on, know your benefits, know everything around it, so you can maneuver your way through the military and maneuver your way outside of the military when you cross over. It's a lot of things that I messed up on. I'm only speaking from experience because I got played by not having my paperwork together. I have missed out on benefits by not having my paperwork together. It's bonuses I was supposed to get that I didn't have my paperwork together, but I was told by somebody, but it wasn't on black and white, so it didn't matter.
Always have it in writing.
You gotta have it in writing. That is such a key thing in the military because they lose stuff like it's nobody's business, and it's crazy, but it's real. So you want to make sure you get all that stuff together. So you have all those benefits that you have, and then when you get out the military, they do have a lot of programs in which a lot of veterans really don't know about, which is pretty sad. But it's a lot of different programs that you can be involved in that can really help you transition. Let's say if you had a certain job in the military and you can't really figure out how that translates into society's job. I can't even think of the word, workforce.
Yeah.
And you don't really know how that translates. They have different programs that help you translate all the different skills you obtained while being in the military and how to use those.
That's
And
so hard. Like me as a
yeah,
resume writer, I do not have a military background, and getting a military resume, it's like you guys speak a foreign language.
yeah, because now that is 100% true. You join the military, that is an entirely different language. I know like 4 different languages, and none of them are actual different languages. It's just the military, English, some other stuff, aviation. Like it just really depends on what workforce you're in. But yeah, the military has their own language completely. The acronyms
Yeah.
out of this world. So there's people to help you translate that into civilian world and use that to get a job. And a lot of soldiers and veterans don't really know how to do that, and they don't know those resources are out there. So you want to make sure you are very conscientious of the different resources that are there for you. And if you don't know, just ask. Like, just ask. I don't care how many questions you get. They get paid to answer those questions.
Yeah.
So make them earn their keep,
And
because
those aren't the people who are going to be screaming at you.
exactly. It's like they're two different people. Two different people. So you ain't got to be nervous about asking them something. I don't care. Like, I'm going to ask you, bro. Like, how do I get this bread? Like, put me on, bro. I'm trying to eat. So, yeah. And they help you with that. Like, even when I came to Houston, I just recently moved to Houston. And, with the climate that's going on now, COVID-19 is crazy. So I was trying to get a different job out here just to supplement everything else I have going on. And they have all these different programs for helping people with rental insurance, mortgage insurance, food, utilities, assistance with that. It's a lot of different things and different programs specifically for veterans, but they don't know. And a lot of people didn't ask, or they, don't know who to ask because they got out before they got some contact information. So it's a lot of different resources you can use with the military. The military has a lot of good things going for it. So it's definitely not all bad. It's not all war. That is definitely a potential option to go though. So keep that in mind. Don't ever get it twisted like you just safe. But it's a lot of people who have never deployed. I haven't even deployed, to be honest. It really depends on the circumstance of your base and who runs it. So for the Guard, Illinois did not have enough money to send us on a deployment, so therefore they canceled 2 deployments. I was supposed to go over twice, and they canceled it because they were broke.
The
Therefore,
mismanagement of Illinois funds.
man, I'm trying to tell you. So, like, it's people that's been in 15, 20 years, never deployed because they're, wherever they was at, didn't have them funds for it. Now, reserves, the nation always got some money somewhere, so they under a whole different circumstance. So yeah, they gonna make the moves. But again, that's still a rotation. That's not no every year type thing. And as far as the Army, you're looking at a 9 to 12 month deployment. Air Force, I believe it's like 6 to 9 months. You can extend. Marines is anywhere from like I think 9 to 15. And I don't know what the Navy does because we ain't fighting boats in so long and ships. I don't nobody know. And Coast Guard, I don't know what they do either besides sit on the shores. Matter of fact, they save people from little boats and bring them back. They do protect the coast.
And I have seen on TV the Coast Guard does stuff with like drugs.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, as far as that, they work with Homeland Security and stuff like that too. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I watched my NCIS.
I see you out here. I see you out here learning, doing your thing. Yeah, so that's as far as the benefit goes.
So you're from Chicago, well, from the Chicagoland area.
Mhm.
So growing up South Side, we, we're used to certain types of environments, right?
Yeah.
We both left Chicago for a reason.
Yes, ma'am.
And so for people who are considering going back home, potentially only having the streets to go back to, maybe having a job, but are tempted by, okay, so I make $15 an hour, I make $22 an hour. There's different means where we come from.
Absolutely.
So for somebody who's being tempted by come back home, yeah, you got that trade, you can do that,
Mm.
but who may be concerned, well, it's going to be tempting not to go back to that life.
Yeah,
A military is a great option to put some distance.
absolutely. We have so many people in the military who are escaping their circumstances. And no matter what you've been through, whether it's you was raised in foster care, you were just in the hood, you were, I'm gonna keep it funky. Like, we got drug dealers, we got people who then had cases. You can get waivers for certain different things too. It's not no end all be all. It depends on the branch that you're going for. You have people in the military with felonies. It just depends on what happened, how long ago. Can you get a waiver for it, and you still can progress.
Okay.
Never over till it's over. So yeah, we like one of the main people, one of the contacts I have you. I'm gonna give to you. His name's Sergeant McCall, Kenneth McCall, and he was in the streets. Now he's a recruiter. He's a sergeant. He has led a few soldiers. He's led soldiers with me because when I got out, I was a sergeant. Before I got out, I was a sergeant. So me and him both have led platoons of soldiers and had to, really look out for them even outside of the uniform. It ain't even about that. Like, that's what I really loved about the Army. The Army has so many real down-to-earth people, and the Marines do too. People who, they really get it, because when you start lowering the standards, you start getting like the average person, the person who's been through some things, who understands certain aspects of life. And all right, cool, it ain't all sweet and dandy at the crib. Like, mom and pops ain't have it like that. My family ain't got it like that. I have to, get it by any means or whatever. So you got a lot of people that's like that and that's real on that level, and you can really, find camaraderie. I don't even know how to say that no more.
You said it. I mean,
Ah,
friendship,
that word.
bonds, whatever that other big word
Yeah,
you tried to
connect,
use.
yo. Yeah, so you definitely connect with people, whatever, and you found some really real people that can put you on. And then once you get in there, like, that's the thing I miss about the military the most. It's the people.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily what we have to do. It's not necessarily the jobs. The perks are cool, but it's the people. Like, you bond with people, and it's like having a whole second family. To this day, I can call people I ain't seen in 10 years and still hit them up like, "Yo, what's good, bro? I need this," or whatever the case is, and they own it because we family at that point. You
Yep.
get a whole different understanding of what life can be outside of what you always knew it once was.
Yeah.
So it's a huge thing.
So I love that, you talked about like how they break you down to build you up, but you talked about how that mindset, you transcend it into other areas that, okay, your body may say, no, stop, but your brain can actually force your body to go further. And
Yep.
then you use that across different areas of your life. So for somebody who struggles with that motivation, do you think that they could make it in boot camp?
Absolutely. See, I think it might be a misconception, but like when I was in boot camp, I'm a strong-minded individual. Me personally. I
AKA
never.
stubborn.
Okay, I'll take that too. That's very true, actually. Um, but no, we had a lot of people that were in there that, like, for instance, I'll give you an example. When we first started boot camp, our drill sergeant wanted to just test us, and he was like, "Who in here think they can beat me in push-ups?" I didn't know whether I could beat this fool. But you're not about to just test me like it's sweet, and I'm just gonna sit down. I'm like, yeah, you got it, bro. No, cool. Me, drill sergeant. What's up? Let's do it. I lost, of course, but like the way people looked at me, like, oh, you're arrogant to think you can beat the drill sergeant. No, I'm just not afraid of trying. I'm not
Yeah.
afraid of failure. But then you have so many people that were in there like that, and they didn't really believe in themselves. Like, they partnered. What the military does is they partner the person who is strong-minded with the person who is weak-minded, or maybe a little bit frail or broken or whatever the case may be, and they punish both of them for the same things. So it forces them to bond together, and he has to pour his strengths on him, on that person, him or she, and that person has to give their strengths to them. So it forces them to look after each other, and no matter who you are, it's just, once you are forced in that position, that's the beauty of it. You ain't really gonna see the beauty of it while you're in there just yet, but once you come out, you'll understand it. Because they take you away from the whole world. We weren't allowed to use cell phones. We weren't allowed to, well, we can use cell phones for 10 minutes on Sunday. And if you got
Okay.
in trouble, you got to wait till next Sunday. I've gotten in trouble a few times. So, yeah, I definitely miss the Sundays. You only can write mail. Um, you can't eat sweets. You are in a controlled environment that's monitored 24/7. Um, you can try to act tough Tony if you want to, but where you gonna go? And if you try to quit, they're gonna put you in this place called not reservations, but it's a place where you don't have to train. You just sit in this building and you're waiting for your papers to be processed so you can get out. They can take as long as they want with that. The fastest way through boot camp or basic training is graduating. Like legit. That 10 weeks is the fastest way to get out. Because once you get there, like they spent $40,000 for your boot camp. They gonna get what they need to get about you some way or somehow. Even if you want to quit, they gonna take your time. You're gonna be sitting there doing a whole bunch of nothing because it ain't like you got electronics to do some stuff.
Right.
You can have a pen and paper and write and start a book, but that's about it. But it forces you to like humble yourself, and when you start humbling yourself, and then they start putting pressure on you, it starts breaking you down, and all the mental levels and barriers you thought you had in your head of what you can't do or you can do, you realize there is so much more that you can do. And sometimes you need that push to get you over that edge of thinking what you can and can't do. And they will happily provide it for you. It's like drill sergeants are paid assholes. Like they literally get paid to piss you off, like to break you down and build you back up. And they have fun doing it. Like
It's hard though to otherwise put your ego aside. I
yeah,
mean, what
yeah,
else is gonna stop the male ego? Or even if it is a female, that ego is like it's there for a reason, and it takes a lot to overcome those things. Or even like you were saying, like certain defense mechanisms that we have to protect ourselves.
absolutely.
There's got to be a way to get through that somehow, then to like build you back up. And I think the nice thing to that you've mentioned is like, yeah, they break you down, but they build you back up. And once you
Absolutely.
get out, you can see like the lifelong friendships that
Mhm.
you have and the perks that you have. And
Yeah.
you were definitely transparent about the negatives, but it sounds like at the end of this, there were more perks for you than there were negatives.
Absolutely. I have no regrets. Some of my best, like the closest people, the best relationships I have came from boot camp. Like dead serious, because it's a whole nother level of thinking when you can't watch your own back and you have to depend on the person from miles and countries away to have your back, as far as having your back for your life.
Yeah.
Because in the military, you can't watch your own back, literally. Like you have to shoot in this angle and hope to God the person behind you is shooting in their angle, and it's like a 360 and it's four of y'all. And everybody has their little 25%, 90% angle or whatever. And you have to trust that they got you.
Yeah.
And the only way that you can trust that they got you is if you really got them.
Right.
So it humbles everybody to the same level, and you form these bonds. And it's not even just mentally. Even your body gets in amazing shape. Like my battle buddy that they put me with, he used to show up to every formation late. And every time he did, they would make us exercise and do the dumbest stuff. I mean, the dumbest stuff. You would feel so embarrassed and belittled, but it really hums you for real. And then at the end of it, he lost like 60 pounds. Now he's in great
Wow.
shape. Like, yeah, like in 10 weeks, your body will transform like you never thought it would before. You ain't got to watch no videos. Oh, yeah, you're going to get in shape. You're going to get it right. And you're going to be good. But yeah, overall, definitely the perks outweigh the negatives. And certain stuff I wish I would have knew. Like I said, keep up with your paperwork. Pay attention to what you're signing. Make sure you get all the benefits. Search for every resource you can for when you're actively in the military and when you transition out. But overall, yeah, I definitely think it's a great move.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. For all of you who are watching, if you have any questions or want him to elaborate on something further, just drop a comment and I will get it to him. And I'm sure he will take the time to respond because he's awesome like that.
Appreciate that.
And, if you've decided, hey, the military isn't for you, then definitely feel free to look at any of my other videos to help you land that next dream job or to help you figure out what the right path for you is, because professional success, financial stability, and personal fulfillment isn't the same for everybody. But it sounds like if you are a young person, the military is definitely an option that you should consider.
Absolutely.
All right, Ralph. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem.